Yes. So today we'll learn about programming, that is Bash scripting and Python socket programming. Now Python socket programming and Bash scripting, they are, see, if you listen the word scripting languages and not, so when I say about scripting languages, so let us first learn about programming language. So programming language is something that you give them the commands and the computer will do that command, and basically he will run the particular command or the instructions. You know that the computer cannot speak in English. So if you tell the computer to go and stand and do this thing, they won't do it. You need to write it in a proper code. That code
Mm.
is known to you, and I mean that particular language is known by you and known by your computer, right? That is called programming language. In more layman terms, what I said. But when we speak about programming in pen testing, so the most common mistake, like I mentioned previously, the most common mistake that every pen testers do is not to read the program or the script or the exploit line by line. How the exploit runs, what the exploit does, how it should be done, the usages and all. So this session will learn first how to code. So we'll code. We'll try to write about Bash scripting and Python and then PowerShell scripting. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
today lecture is going to be completely on Bash scripting, and if time
Mm.
permits us, we'll start with Python socket programming. See, uh, we did not understand about Python, Bash, about exploit development right now.
Mm.
First, at least we'll learn how to identify the right exploit, because there are
Mm.
many openly available exploits available on Google. One such common place is exploit DB, the hub of exploits, which you will
Mm.
find. So similarly, first we need to identify the exploits. So for that, we'll learn about the basic syntaxing. Yeah. So today's lecture is going to be completely on Bash scripting, or you can call it shell scripting. Yeah. So I'll just quickly go through all this. So you know who is this guy?
So,
You don't know.
so,
He is Linus Torvalds.
so your screen is not shared.
Okay, my screen is not shared. 1 second. Visible now.
Yes, sir.
So do you know who is this person?
No, sir.
Linus Torvalds. He's the father of Linux.
Yeah.
Father of Linux. Father of all computing operating system.
Mm.
So yesterday I spoke about Linux. So today we'll just glimpsely I'll cover up about Linux. So as I mentioned yesterday, Linux is an open source operating system, and it was created by Linus Torvalds in 1991, before we were born. The main heart of Linux is the kernel. Now, the kernel manages the system resources and the hardware. Now, for example, in human, we have our heart. That's the main function, right? The heart will pump the blood to the different parts of our body, minute places of our body also, right? So similarly, the core or the heart of Linux is the kernel. And so this particular kernel helps you to integrate these system resources. Now, when I say system resources, like uh, even if you just connect a normal hard disk to the system won't understand the previous computers. Like when I'm speaking the computers during 1990s, they did not have that smart AI capability. Like you connect the pen drive to them, they won't understand whether the pen drive was connected or what type of hardware device was connected to them. So that's what we had to mention them. Similarly, so like I'm saying, kernel is like a is a heart that integrates the resources. For example, like a hard disk resource will have some modules of hard disk, right? Disk utility is one such module which we have in the, Windows, right? So similarly, Linux also. Linux is freely available to anyone, so you can modify it based on your customization, and you can call it as your own distribution also. So there are multiple types of Linux available: Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, CentOS. So Ubuntu is a type of a Debian-based distribution of Linux. Uh, then we have Kali Linux, we have Parrot OS. Even yesterday I told you about one operating system called as Dragon OS, right? So every operating system of Linux, they have their own purposes or their own, what do you say? usages. Based on that, they came up with a separate operating system. And the most important point is it's a global community. So if you go to canonical.org, Canonical is the parent company of Ubuntu. So they have their own forums where you can ask them the questions. Even multiple people you can find on Discord or any other forum platforms, stackoverflow.com and all. Yeah. The most important features of Linux is, uh, Aryan, if you have any doubts, you can question me. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the most important feature of Linux right now is considered to be is security.
Mm.
If you observe all the major industries like machineries, air, aviation industries, they use Linux operating system for their communications or their operating system, right? Even nowadays, ATM machines have started to use Linux because of the past bad history that they had with Windows 7 ATM operating systems. So, coming to the features, security. So, Linux is a very good in terms of security features. So, very rare chances that you'll find viruses because viruses are built on Linux only, the BAT file, .bat files. Then we have performance. Unlike Windows or Mac OS, I'm not criticizing, but I'm just telling you, unlike Linux or Mac OS, the RAM optimization or the CPU usages or the optimization is very less. Linux doesn't need a graphics card. Without graphics card, it will work very perfect. You just need to give a proper CPU to it. Then we have the third point called a customization. So, like I mentioned, it's freely available, so you can customize it based on your requiremements. And nowadays, Linux, not nowadays, like previously also, and still with the advancement in the technologies, Linux are used everywhere, like server markets, in the servers, production servers, application servers, even the cloud, AWS, Azure. Azure does use Linux, but AWS, though you can see they have their own OS, which is a part of a distribution of Linux only. Even the supercomputers that are used for processing of cryptography and everything, they use Linux. Then we have the development. So it's basically used by everyone, not everyone, basically only people who are into pen testing, development, only these two people use. Common people like not apart from us will only use Mac OS or Windows because it's not that complex to use these operating systems, unlike Linux, which is completely CLI based. Even nowadays, our smart TVs, our mobile phones, even Android OS is also a Linux based operating system. Then our routers, automotive, like our smart cars as in you can consider to be MG Hector when they say internet inside. Then we have Ola scooter. This automotive sector started to use Linux operating system. Matlab, they use the freely available Linux distribution and customize it based on their requirements. Yeah, shall we continue with the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next is to understand the important file hierarchies in Linux. Now, see
Mm.
why I'm covering this topic is throughout the entire course of the syllabus, we will be only using Kali Linux or Parrot OS. I prefer Parrot OS over Kali Linux because Parrot is now more stable than Kali. So it is important to know that what is how the operating system works, what are the important parameters or the directories in the operating system. Yes. Now, before I start with knowing the file hierarchies in the operating system, so just a glimpse which I want to tell you is as we'll be solving the machines, like it's gonna be 50-50, that is Linux and Windows. Linux, all the directories are same. I mean, the file hierarchies, the processes, how you code them, how you run the commands, everything is the same. Nothing is changed. Similarly, in Windows, maybe the directory names are given long term, like my document, my files, or my desktop. Here it is in short forms only. Okay. So let's start with the file hierarchy. So whenever you see a backward slash, just consider whenever you see a backward slide, just consider you are in the root directory. Now there are two things here: a directory and a file. So the only way to know how to identify a directory is, now I'll be teaching you about some basic commands also. Okay. So just
Yes, sir.
remember this keyword D and hyphen, and if there is some file name. So when you have this symbol D, it means it's a directory. Then followed by the permissions, whatever permissions it can be. And when you have a simple dash, a simple line, it means it's a file. A file can be irrespective, it's a dot any extension file, okay? Any extension. It can be a PDF, it can be a PDF, it can be a PNG file, it can be a zip file, whatever file. It's gonna be dash. When you create a directory, or in Linux we call it as a directory, but in Windows we call it as a folder. So when you create a directory or you see anything which has a D symbol, it means it's a directory. So this is the best way to identify whether your the contents inside that particular file or inside the directory is having directories. How many types of directories are there? How many types of files are there? And based on that, the permissions. So let's continue now. Okay, one second now. Perfect. Screen visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first one we have is bin /bin. Okay. So bin is nothing but it's a binary or an executable programs. So let me relate this with Windows. In Windows, we have program files, right? Under the C directory, C directory path, right? Program files x86 or 64-bit. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So when a user in Windows installs a program, the program will automatically by default will get installed or saved its important files in the program files section only, right? Similarly, in Linux, when a root user, so we have two types of users. One is a normal user and one is a root user. So when a normal user creates a file, it will be saved in some directory. I'll tell you what it is. But when a root user installs a file, updates the packages, upgrades a package, and also remove some packages. All these things are getting reflected in the bin folder. That is the binary folder, type /bin. Then we have something called as etc. See, let me relate this bin with testing testing parameter now. Okay. So when you do successful privilege escalation, I mean successful enumeration, and you enter into targets normal user, a low privilege user, and you want to install some packages like a malware package, just to keep or a malware or a backdoor. So you can install this particular file there also, or there is one more directory where you can install, which I'll tell you later. It's coming in the next 2 3 points. So understanding bin is also important. Now, once you do privilege escalation and you are a root user, you can do n number of stuff. You can go to that particular directory, delete the file or delete the program, uninstall the program, that is purge, and then you can remove it. Next is we have etc. etc contains all the system configuration file. Now, with respect to pen testing, especially when you're doing Linux based pen testing or AWS cloud pen testing, always check etc. Here etc contains two types of major files. One is a shadow file and one is a passwd file. See, I can tell you one thing. You won't get any password in plain text. Okay. They all the passwords are encrypted in hash formats. But at least you'll come to know with that how many types of users are there or how many types of root users are there with respect to passwd or shadow files. So etc passwd or etc shadow. Always when you do privilege before privilege escalation of a low user also, we always try to gather more and more information. We try to map them. I'll show you how we do that. Okay. Then we have something called as home, or basically it's a home directory. That's the default current directory. So in home directory, you have your documents, you have your downloads, uh, then you have your desktop, everything. This you can just relate this with the home directory of our Windows also. You go to File Explorer, You go to then you can go to this PC. Under this PC, you have documents, downloads, music, pictures, and everything, right? So similarly, you can relate this with Linux also. Then we have something called as OPT or optional. When you want to install any third-party software. Now, when I speak about third-party software, see, there are two types of third-party software. One software which are recognized by the Linux, and the other software which are not recognized by Linux. You can consider them to be a pirated software. Okay, let's say. So when you want to install some pirated software, you can directly install it in the OPT or optional directory. Now, the reason why we do that is when you just type sudo update or upgrade, what Linux does is whatever is installed in bin folder or the packages that are there in the bin folder, it will update them, but it won't update anything from OPT, right? Now, this is one main reason why people have this OPT also. So in upcoming sessions, we will be using OPT where we'll try to install some libraries inside the OPT folders also. Next, we have TMP or temporary space. So now I'll tell you a scenario why this temp is used with respect to security perspective. So once you once you get the access of any low privilege user, and then you want to do further privilege escalation, and you came to know that this particular privilege escalation is occurring with respect to this particular exploit, and the exploit name is something something dot c. Let's say exploit.c. You cannot directly run the exploit.c in bin because uh, as a normal user, you don't know what type of permissions you have. But as a super user or the root user, you have the permissions. But temp is one particular folder, TMP is one particular directory where you have no restrictions on the permissions. So what happens is when you download the file, you don't download the file in downloads for directory, but you download the file in temp. Temp doesn't have anything relation with bin nor with any other directories. It is just there to do all your stuff. But the only disadvantage about temp is or temporary directory is if you reboot or restart the system, everything is gone. It's like a place where you just keep your work temporary. Okay. Then we have something called as user USR. So this is like user related programs. Let's not focus much on this. Okay. Now, with respect to security parameter or security perspective or pen testing perspective, always check VAR or variables. Variables contains your log files. Every CTF player, even you are a CTF player. In CTF, we always check for where, right? We always check the log files just to see if
Yes.
any saved passwords or saved credentials, passwords, or any user that was created or anything. You can find n number of stuff in where, but sometimes in but CTF and real world scenarios or real examples or real environments, you won't get anything. Okay, so you need to, but yeah, during information gathering, you have to check. Then we have something called a boot. So boot is basically you can consider it's like a normal system related files. For example, when we turn on a computer or a laptop, always a laptop. For example, consider your laptop to be Asus. So Asus will first run the boot. Then after the boot, it will run the boot loader. And from the boot loader, it will select the particular operating system that you have installed. Right. So boot is nothing but it's like a process how you start the computer or the system. In Linux also everything is saved. Windows there is a directory where all the I mean a folder where there all the information related boot is also saved, and you can search. That's your homework. Okay, you can try to find where it is, but don't delete it. Okay, Windows
Yes, sir.
11 nowadays everything you get on Windows 11. The next is something called as dev or device files locations. So if you might have used Ubuntu, like let's say standalone, entire standalone operating system as a Ubuntu and not VMware, not on virtual machine. In Ubuntu, if you connect a pen drive, unlike Windows, we don't get that pop-up message, कि pen drive is removable, disconnected, whatever it is. But in Ubuntu, we don't get. In Ubuntu, we need to go to that dev directory and then check whether the device files is connected or not. Now going to the next directory, that is lib or libraries. So here all the libraries which are related to the kernels or the core of the Linux operating system or and the shared libraries, everything is saved here. Then we have something called a lost plus found. So plus found is in Windows. If you I'm relating this with Windows now. In Windows you might have observed, right? When you reboot your computer or factory reset your system, always Windows will create one particular directory inside sorry, yeah, inside C called as windows.old, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So all the important parameters will get here, whatever it was, whatever you saved and all. Similarly, in Linux also, everything you'll get in loss plus found. But yes, uh, if your operating system is a standalone computer, okay, and not virtual box. Yeah. Then we have something called as media files. So media files is a like a subdirectory of day files only, where all the uh, uh, removable memory devices are connected. Media devices like pen drives. So earlier Dave used to be there, and now also it is there. But this media came in picture when NAS. You know what is NAS, right? Network application servers.
Yeah.
Yeah, network application servers are like basically you have your in-house servers or you have your database servers where you use for file sharing and everything were created. So this media just came into picture. Earlier media was not there. Then we have something called as MNT, mounting. In I'll relate this with our Windows. Okay, if you go to networks, so you can see you can also mount a particular computer or whatever it is, right? You can mount anything remotely. So similarly, MNT is used for mounting. Now, what when I say mounting, it's like anything. Like if you and me we are on the same network, you are using Ubuntu and I'm also using Ubuntu, and you have connected the hard disk to your computer. So I'll mount your entire computer that hard disk in my system also. So nowadays routers also you might have seen, right? Routers have this FTP,
Yeah.
file transfer protocols, where you can mount it. So
Yes.
similarly, you can do this. So MNT is very similar to network file sharing in Windows. Uh, let's skip this proc one. So proc is basically if you want to if you want to know about any process ID. So very similar to task manager, where you can see the task ID and you can do any number of stuff, like you can delete the task or you can suspend the task. So similarly in proc also you can kill the process in case your software or the program is not working, like that. Yeah. Then we have something called as run. So run, uh, basically it's like a runtime data. So somewhat related to boot menu only, not not much to focus on this. Okay. Then the next we have something called a sbin. So we have two types here. Okay, sbin and bin. Sbin is basically for uh, execution of program for execution of programs for one second. Sorry. Yeah, SBIN is basically execution of programs for it's a binary for directory where users can install the programs. So so person like you, me, who are not super users or root user, we can install any software or packages in this SBIN, and it has nothing to do with bin. But if you are a super user or a root user, and automatically it will be installed in bin directory. Okay. So when you get access of any target as a normal user, always try to access this particular file. See, the reason why I'm saying is when you try to access this particular file, you will come to know at least what type of operating and what type of softwares are installed. There are sometimes that it's all about mind games. Okay, how you do now. For example, if any ticketing software is there, ticketing software, or let's say any password encryption softwares are installed. So this particular software installed by the normal user will have all its log files in where. So you can actually relate this and see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have something called SRV. SRV doesn't exist in not all operating systems. I mean Linux OS, very few. So it's more like server specified. So if you when we'll be solving the labs, uh, and some labs the directories like Linux, Apache, and all will be saved here. More of a software related, I mean server related data. Okay, but very important to check. Okay, very important to check when you're doing testing, pen testing. Here you can get all the data, everything. Like by luck, everything you can get here. Then we have sys. Sys file is basically for um, normal virtual files for Linux distributions. So nothing much to learn about sys file. But when you will start, in case you start your career with AWS cloud computing, that time this sys file will play a very important role, because in AWS what happens, you create instances of virtual machines. So I'm not just saying AWS, but even VMware, ELXSI. Okay, so here you have cloud computing, right? So this particular directory will help you to know what stuff is going on. Yeah. Shall
Sir.
we go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Uh, I am assuming that you know all these commands. Yes,
Almost.
you almost all. Okay.
Ah.
Out of this, which command you don't know? I
Uh,
think everything you should be knowing. It's very simple command.
uh,
ls is for listing the directories. We
yes,
have
sir.
ls-al. Then pwd is for printing working directory. Print working directory. This is very important, Aryan. You have to
Yes, sir. Yes,
remember
sir.
this, because what happens when you do lateral movements, na,
Ah.
topic like lateral movement, when you go very in deep inside any directory, you don't know where you are.
Right.
So pwd helps you a lot. cd
You
is
know
to
all of
change
them.
directory. You know all of them. Good.
Ah. Yes, sir.
Okay, you know move and you know CP also, right? What is
Yes,
the
sir.
difference between move and CP? Like cut and move is
Ah.
cut, copy,
Copy,
paste.
copy, and yeah.
Nahi, cut and paste.
Move is cut
Move,
and CP is copy.
copy, paste. Yes.
Ah.
RM, we have two types here. RM and RM hyphen.
Sir, one is for rename and one is to remove.
RM is to remove and RM hyphen R is for
Rename, I
no,
guess. No,
no,
no. It's for
no.
directory removal, I guess.
Yes, RM is used to delete a file, and RM hyphen R is for directory. I think
Yeah.
ulta I'm saying, but let's
No, sir.
check.
No, sir.
Okay,
It's
later.
correct. It's correct.
It's correct. Okay.
Yes, sir. Minus R
And
is
then
for
we have
directory
something
removal.
called as yeah. Then we have something called RM hyphen hyphen purge. Purge. Purge.
Hmm.
Purge will basically remove all the files. Okay. We'll remove all the files. Like it's like completely what you say, permanent delete. Yeah. Cat echo man uname. Uname, I'll tell you what it is. Okay. Uname is one particular command that will be using lot when we'll be doing kernel exploitations.
Mhm.
Then who am I? PS, kill, chmod, fconfig, trace root. Trace root, in case once we'll be solving the one labs machines, we'll use trace root a lot, because it's like one complete environment that they create. Then we have wget sudo, where is used to find the files. We have find also,
Okay, it also.
right? User add, user mod. Remember this, okay? User add, user mod. Not in hack the box or try hack me, you'll find you can use this command, but in one labs machines, this particular command is very important. Okay, let's
Yes,
continue.
sir.
Do you want me to practically show you all this?
No, sir.
No. Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. When if you feel I want to show anything needs to be shown practical, tell me practical. Okay, I'll show you
Yes, sir.
practical.
Yes, sir.
So there are two types of users, like I said you, right? One is a
Hmm.
normal user and one is a root
Root
user.
user.
See, this hashtag and this normal symbol, that is dollar.
Hmm.
Tomorrow, when you will get privilege or any user access now, you might get confusion. You shouldn't be confused with this dollar and
Hashtag.
hashtag symbols. See, when you get this hashtag symbol, see, you might have solved some uh, hack the box or try hack me or proving grounds machines, right? When you
Yes.
do privilege escalation sometimes, or when you try to get any reverse shell, this sometimes you might have seen this dollar symbol also, right? Then we try
Yes,
to
sir.
then we try to enter the stable shell command, right?
Hmm.
So every time, but in real time, okay, Aryan, in real scenarios, real environments, you will never get that entire stable shell. You'll always get
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
And you remember when we should type arrow up command, that a symbol would come,
Hmm. Hmm.
unmatched strings that we say in topics. So you need to be very careful when you're using such things, okay? In at least in real environments, which you will be working with me in the future project. Okay.
Sir.
So hashtag is for root user, I mean the super user, and dollar is for
Normal user.
normal user. You can just call it as a low privilege user also.
Hmm.
Or we'll just say user. Okay, that's user.
Yes,
So
sir.
we have two types of redirections. One is a forward arrow and one is a backward arrow. So when you now I'll tell you, you know what is standard output, standard import?
Yeah.
You know this? Okay. I'll give a very good example. If I point finger at you, it means I'm telling you some output, right?
Yes.
Yes. Like I'm pointing finger. I'm like, Aryan, don't
Hmm.
do this.
Hmm.
You're not listening to me. Some
Hmm.
output I'm giving to you, right?
Yeah.
And then if I don't point the finger at you and I say, Aryan, you help me how to do it. Like this, you help me.
Hmm.
Some people have that habit, right?
Yeah.
Like you help me. Listen, you're not doing like this. And
Hmm.
then like, okay, fine, you help me out how to do. So this is like output and this is
Yeah.
input.
Input.
Okay.
Hmm.
So this is how I explain people. So when you have the forward symbol, I mean the forward arrow, it's where you output the stuff. So like cat file.txt. Now what happens here is I mention some file and I want to add some things here. So this command will help me to write after the file and then it will copy it.
Hmm.
And when I say cat, uh, I mean the backward import symbol,
Hmm.
this will actually take the inputs from the file and print it
Hmm.
on the screen. Even if you
Hmm.
just say file cat file.txt, it will still print. Okay. Then if you want to append something, like you don't want to open the file, let's say you
Hmm.
don't want to open the text file and you want to append something, you want to add at the end of the file, you just say forward, I mean arrows two times. Okay. I'll just show you how it is done. Okay. Just a second. So Aryan, if you're comfortable only, you use Parrot, okay? Or else you can use Linux. Both are same. But I am
Yes, sir.
comfortable with this. Yeah. So I'm not
Yes, sir.
restricting, I'm not forcing you for anything. You can do however you want to use, okay? But the main
Yes, sir.
intention is your OS should be stable. Right now, this guy is very stable. Okay. So I'll just go to my home directory, desktop. So I'll create a file called as Aryan underscore. Okay. So whatever I'll do the changes here. This is empty. Okay, let's see if we have gedit in this or not. Okay, we don't have gedit. Okay, so I'll just create a file called hello Aryan. Okay, and I'll save it in that directory.
We can use Nano for Vim also.
That is very unstable. Abhitona, they are very unstable, you know.
Uh,
Okay, fine.
Sir, क्योंकि वो root actually वो directly root user की है and
Hmm.
you're trying to access it by low privilege user.
Yeah, that is true. Still, we can do multiple stuff here. One second, huh? Leave it. Let's see if we have mouse pad. No, we don't have this. I don't want to use Nano. That's the problem. Well, I need text editor that we have here. Okay. 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 So our file is created now, called as rn.hello.txt. Okay. It has read, write, execute permissions. Let us change the permissions also. Okay. Just to make it more smoother. Okay. So I'll just say cat and then hello.txt. We have rn.hello.rn, right? So what I'll do is I'll just say cat append, then the file name. So let's say I'll just type any message. Welcome and to TjPEN session on Bash day 2. Okay, then I can just say control plus X. So how it works? Did you see? Without
Yes, sir.
opening the text editor.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Pluma is one text editor, just like Mousepad in Parrot OS. Okay. So
Mhm.
yeah. So this is how we append the file without opening it. So I can still append more stuff here, like let's say bin bash. Unless I don't press Control plus Z, it won't do stop. Okay. Bin bash, then say hello world. So okay, I should have pressed enter here. इसके बाद मैंने डाल दिया ना सीधा एंटर
Yes,
दबा
sir.
के कंट्रोल सेट करना था. No problem. Yeah, understood how it works.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Now we'll start with this thing. So Aryan, be very honest. On scale of 5, how good is your this thing? Shell scripting?
0. I don't know anything.
That's the attitude, okay? ऐसा ही attitude होना चाहिए. हाँ?
Sir.
So एकदम एकदम सिंपल से हम लोग बैश स्क्रिप्टिंग विल लर्न ओके टुडे
Mhm.
और शेल स्क्रिप्टिंग. So shell scripting, bash scripting, both names are same. Nothing is different. Okay. Which other programming language you know? You know at least C?
C, C++, and Python.
Hmm. Okay. C, C++. Let's just take C right now. Okay. We'll relate some modules of C with respect to what you say shell scripting. But you will be very surprised to see that the modules of shell scripting will be almost same as Python. Some modules of Python. Yeah. So let's continue. Yeah. So I'll just do one thing is go to the directory what I've done here. Then I'll say new document 1.sh. Now, when I say 1.sh, just remember sh is nothing but the file extension for shell scripting or bash scripting. Yes. Similarly, we have C or CPP python.py, right? Aryan, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay. So similarly, we have for shell scripting.
Mm.
So I opened this. I've opened this. I'll zoom in a bit. You zoom in.
No, so I can see it's visible.
You can see. Okay.
Ah,
Okay. Okay. One second. So when when you first learned C, you learned about something called as header files, right? Like
yes, sir.
hash include stdio.h, right?
Yeah.
Now the reason why these header files were introduced, every time you cannot code 1,000 lines of header files for 4 lines of actual code, right? So the header files are actually stored in the local libraries. That is, somewhere it will be stored in Ubuntu in Linux, or somewhere it might be stored in what is it, Microsoft Visual Studio, C++ or C program. Yeah. Similarly, we in bash scripting we have this header file called bin sh. So this is called as shebang. Shebang, or you can just call as header. Okay. So bin bash. So why I'm saying bin bash is, I'll just show you the other side. Okay. So if you go to, so if you go to cd bin bash, sorry, cd bin, and just say ls hyphen al. So let's just say ls only. So all the directories of bash will be here. So just a cd bash. I think it's not a directory, it's a file, I
Program.
guess. Yeah, it's a file. See, you can see, right? This L, I mean, L is for local, okay, local files where everything is locally saved. Nothing, uh, nothing by the OS people. Okay, so all the important parameters, I mean, the headers are everything saved here. Yeah, so you can just say bin bash, and then if you want to write a comment, you always use this hashtag. So this is for comments. You don't have, unlike in C program, we don't have something like we write right like this multi-line comments. We don't have like here. Here you can write just line by line comments. Okay. Yeah.
Sir.
The next important thing to understand is we have this command called as echo, right? I showed you, right? Echo
Yes,
is
sir.
used to print any text file. So when you just say echo and say hello Aryan, it will print whatever is inside this. Yes, whatever is this. So I'll just show you very simple way. I'll delete this particular thing. I'll just save it. Yes. So ls-al. Now see, as a normal user or root user, we don't have the read write X permission. X is for execution permission. We have only read and write permissions, right? So first we need to do is we need to change the permission. So we can just say 777 and keep it 1.sh. Okay. So now you see we everyone has read write execute permissions. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was created by root user or root.
Mm.
Yeah. Now how to execute this file is dot backward slash and then the file name.
Yeah.
So this is how the file got executed. So this is like the normal way of programming. I'll open this particular file again. Okay. So you understood, right? Just just relate this with printf statement or cout statement that we have in or println, right? In Python. Yes, printf is for printing the statement in C program.
Yeah.
Cout is for C++.
C++.
Println is for Python. Yes.
Yeah.
So similarly, echo is used to display the contents or like printing the statements,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Understood? How understood? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No doubt. Okay.
No, sir.
Now the next set of okay. Now the most important thing, variables. Now see, unless you don't define variables, अभी तो क्या है कि this is like just 2 lines का code, right?
Hmm.
But when you are going to write n number of line codes or n number of stuff that you'll be doing, you need to define the variables. Variables are a set of mini database inside bash scripting or even in C++ or C program. We define variables, right? Variable like, for example, number is equal to 1, then num2 is equal to 2. We do that, right?
Yes, sir.
Why do we do that? Now, there is a reason why you do that. Now, in case your user has predefined variables, like something called predefined variable. Now, predefined variable means you hard code the particular data inside the program, and then there is something called user defined variables, which I'll be covering up in the upcoming class. So you can define variable. Now I'll just write here variable definition. Okay, so you can just say where, or you can create a variable called as name, or you can create something like number, n number of ways. Okay, but there is a proper way of writing the syntax for variables also. See, abc underscore av, then av232, and you cannot create variables like this. These are very bad, I mean invalid. Your program won't even run. Okay,
Right.
so the syntax of defining a variable is first you write a variable name, and then you say equal to and whatever is the variable data. When you define the variable data, irrespective of whether it's a number or alphabets or anything, always you define it in quotes. Okay, always you define in quotes. Now, for example, I'll just say a variable called as Aryan. Yeah, and I'll say echo. I want to print a variable, right? Yes or no? If I say where, do you think it will print your Aryan name? It should, right? What do you say,
Yeah.
Aryan? It
It
should.
should.
It should. Let's try. See, it is not printing. You know why?
Why, sir?
Okay, 1 second. What happened to this guy? It's open here. Sorry. See, you have defined the variable, but we need to call the variable also, right?
Yeah.
Now, echo, what is the work of echo? Echo will directly print. Similarly, sorry, 1 second. Okay, sorry. One second, Arya. Something happened here. Okay. I'm creating anything. Okay, perfect. See, what happens is, uh, when you just say echo will directly print the variable. I mean, it will just print whatever it is. Similarly, you relate this a printf. You just say printf where it won't print, right? It won't just print whatever is there inside the particular variable. So how to print this particular variable is you just use a symbol called a dollar. Now see, this is the beauty of bash scripting or any program or any scripting language. If you observe Python, if you use Python uh, IDE like what do you say, PyCharm, right? Use PyCharm anytime, right? You have used, right?
Yes,
In
sir.
PyCharm, so you saw how the particular color code got changed. You
Hmm.
saw, right?
Right.
So if I just say echo, it will consider this to be a normal text. That's why when I executed the program, it was just saying where. But when I say a dollar in front of it, it will echo will print whatever inside is inside this particular variable. So let's try now. So you saw the difference, right?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
So if you want, we can just put a message also like saying hello, you are, let's say welcome, star. Okay. So hello, welcome, Mr. Aryan. Yes. Okay. So this I'll call it as variable calling using dollar symbol. Okay. Yes, Aryan, you there?
Sir.
Okay. Now the next set of code that we'll be doing is, okay, let me delete this file. Now the next set of code that we will be doing is we'll be having user defined data or any data that a user gives us. Okay. C. Now this is in C++ or C program. We have something called a scanf, right?
Yeah.
Scanf. Scanf
Yes,
is
sir.
used for what? To take any user-defined data, whatever the user is entering for computation or for any entering any data into the array or the strings, right?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, we have something called a read, R-E-A-D, a read. So read is a particular command that is not only used in bash scripting, but in normal CLI also, okay, of Linux. So whatever you say, read name, whatever the user will enter, all the details will be saved here. And then you can use echo statement to print the names. So I'll just show you one example. So bin bash, then I'll just write a comment called as user defined variable. We'll call it as we'll write a first we'll write a command called as read. Then we'll say name. Okay, and then we'll print the user defined input. Let's user defined input variable. Let's say echo will say hello, and now we'll use dollar. Okay, dollar symbol, dollar. Okay, let's see how this particular program works. So first is we need to change the permissions. Then I'll just use a dot to.sh. So I'll write your name, Aryan. See, hello Aryan. So whatever I entered here, everything got saved here. I mean, whatever I entered, whatever the user entered, like whatever it got saved in name variable. And then in the echo statement, I used echo dollar name to print the particular user defined input. Did you observe? Did you
Yes, sir.
see this, Aryan?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So we can also make some changes also here. Like for example, we'll just say enter your name, sir. Okay, and then just say this. So we can give what you say, any message also. Enter your
Ah,
name like this. Then hello, Mr. Okay, enter your name is not a valid identifier. It says. Let's see. Okay. Not a valid. What happened? 1 second, huh? Oh, I need to use this particular symbol called as -p. -p will help you to take the actual inputs. Like you have to, if you want to give any message before the variable, you always use read -p. So what we'll do is your read will first print out this particular statement called as enter your name, and then whatever is the data that will be entered here will be saved in name variable. Okay. Now, for example, uh, like this. Okay, I'll just show you how it is done. 1 second, huh? Aryan, you saw how it worked now? Hello? Yes, Aryan.
yes, sir.
So if I had not used this P, what read was doing is read was not understanding what is this. Like it got confused whether this is a variable or this is a variable. So when I specified -p, so what read did was read understood, okay, after -p, this is the message that needs to be printed on the CLI, which got printed here. Enter your name. And then whatever is the user entered, like after this double quotes, whatever the user entered here, Aryan, that got saved in the variable name temporarily. Okay. And then when I wanted to print the user defined import, so I called this particular variable using the dollar symbol, right? And whatever is the message I gave here, hello, Mr. So and so. Yeah, understood? Yes, understood, Aryan.
Yes, sir.
Which part? See, similarly, we can do one more thing is we can give multiple parameters. When I say multiple parameters, like enter your name, comma, age, comma, uh, date of birth. So I can create multiple variables in one particular line, like age and then DOB, okay, or date, let's say. So I'll just say echo your age is $age, echo your date of birth is so and so, dollar date. You saw how the color also got changed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say Aryan, your age is Aryan 24, right?
Uh,
1990. How much is what's your age?
21.
20, 21? So
2003.
2005 then. 2003. My brother is of your age, man. So, hello, Aryan. Then your age is 21 and your date of birth is, I mean, sorry, DOB. We just entered the year. You saw how in multiple line, in the same line, we can take multiple input and then print it out in separate different line.
Yes,
You
sir.
saw, right?
Hmm.
So, one thing I'll tell you, Aryan, you try to practically do it yourself also, like experiment with multiple things. You experiment until unless you don't experiment, you won't understand uh, what are the errors. Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
moving on to the next thing, You understood how to do this, right? You
Yes,
have
sir.
any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. You want to practically do it?
I am doing it, sir.
You're doing? Okay. I'll
Yes, sir.
stop sharing my screen and you show me what you have done and you explain me. Okay.
Yes, sir. Is my screen visible,
Now
sir?
you are my teacher. Yes, you are my teacher. You want to explain me.
This is what I did.
Mhm.
Uh,
This is the most
First,
unstable version, huh? 2023.3 and 4.
yes, sir.
Okay,
So
good.
this is num variable that I create. Then echo
Mm-hmm.
command is used to print anything.
Mm-hmm.
Dollar num is to call the variable.
Mm-hmm.
Then to take input from the user, we use read command or we use read function.
Okay.
With read function, if we use minus p flag, then we can print anything like any string with it while taking the
Okay.
input.
See, the comment that you wrote, na hyphen p is a printing a line while taking user-defined input. Just say,
Yeah,
printing a line while taking user-defined inputs. Just say, while define user-defined input with a message from user with a message at the end. With a message. Uh, okay.
like we can take two inputs from the user. If we use this,
Hmm.
then we can call it in different lines also, or in single line also.
Okay. Okay. And if you put a hashtag symbol in front of echo, just put and see what happens. Anywhere, anywhere you put in front of echo, in front of echo, not there. Echo. You see, it became a commenter now. So that's how you do comments. You pass the comments in bash scripting. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. So now we'll do some arithmetic stuff also. Okay. So the first thing that I'll say is sorry, bin bash, and then I'll define two variables. Okay. I'll define variables like num1, sorry, num1 is equal to 20 and num2 is equal to 30. Okay. And then I'll just do one thing is I'll just say sum is equal to num1 plus num2. But hey, it won't actually do, right? Unless we don't call the variables, right? What sum will do is sum will directly do sum of num1, num2. That is, but it won't call what is there inside the variables. Yes. And
Sir.
then we'll just say echo dollar num, dollar sum, sorry, the summation. Okay. So let's see whether this particular code will work or not. I'm not sure. It should work. Okay, it did not. It did not take the arithmetic calculation. Okay, let's figure it out. Why? Okay. Now the reason why I did not take the arithmetic calculation is we need to mention the arithmetic formulas also here. So 1 second, Aryan, and let me just see whether I mentioned it somewhere or not. I have mentioned them. Okay, 1 second. Let us experiment and see what happens. Okay. Num1, num2 it is printing. let's solve it, okay, without seeing any help. So if I say dollar, it will just do normal these things. Like dollar, dollar, but it is not doing arithmetic calculation. So I'll just say add and see. No, it doesn't. Okay. Take second now. Okay, this is if else. We are not going here so fast. Once again, I have plotted functions over here. Here it is in this particular PPT. Okay, sorry, it's here. I forgot the syntax also. So dollar and then this. Let's see. This should work. Give me a second. Let me figure out this. Okay, it's working. So, okay. Now I'll tell you the reason why it is was not working. So what was happening, Aryan? This was directly called. You observed, right? When I just said, oh, Aryan,
Yes, sir.
where did you get lost? And where did you
Uh,
leave?
I, I mean, by mistakenly closed the Teams.
Automatically.
No, sir, I've been mistakenly clicked it.
Acha, now where was the last thing that you saw? What was the last thing that you saw?
Uh, Printing
Arith
the, yeah, you put a dollar sign
okay, fine.
and then
See,
two brackets. Yeah, yeah,
this
this one.
thing, right?
Yeah,
See, now what was happening is if I'll just do one thing, I'll just put this sum is equal to num2. Okay. So what was happening here is whatever it was, see, it is successfully taking the data from num1 and num2, but it is not running as an arithmetic function, right? So it was running like this. See, num1 plus num2. It was directly just printing out the details here. But when I use a dollar symbol in front of them, let's say this. So when I use a dollar symbol in front of them, this particular data, I mean, this particular input or whatever is a variable data is considered, and then it is considered as a normal function. I mean, normal arithmetic value. So even if I say into, so into also should work for us. Okay. See, it's working. So this is how you mention, I mean, you do arithmetic calculations in bash scripting. Okay. Unlike in C program where we just say int a is equal to uh, 20 plus 30, right?
yes,
We
sir.
do that, na? Here we cannot specify the type of variable. Only bash script knows that it's a variable, but what type of variable we need to define, right? So this is one particular method you can say. I'll just write a comment here. Uh, Bad code, not bad, I mean, invalid, let's say, invalid command or arithmetic calculation. And then I'll just say valid. Okay, I'm sharing this file with you also. Okay, don't practice it side by side. I'm sharing. Okay,
Yes,
I'll
sir.
share you directly on your WhatsApp chat. Arya. Okay, Okay, so let's do one thing. I'll see. We'll run this particular command again and see how it runs. See, you saw it's working. Now the next thing that we will learn is something called as loopings. Uh, Loopings are very important. Like if you want to do multiple checks or multiple rounds of check, then in C in other programming language we use if-else statements, right? If-else statements. If one particular condition is true, then it should do so and so work. And if one particular condition is false, then it will do something else. Yes.
Right. Yes, sir.
So Aryan, can you relate this with Python? You see, it's almost same, right? The syntaxing.
Yes, sir.
You start with the if and you end with fi. Yes or no?
Hmm.
So majorly, whatever you will see now in this loopings, especially for if else
Hmm.
or else if else if else. So we have three types of looping. We have if loops, we have if
Hmm.
else we have if else, and then we have if else if. If
Hmm.
else if is also called as elif,
Hmm.
elif statements.
Right.
Okay, I'll just theoretical. I'll tell you how it does work. So here you just check only for one particular condition, whether it is true, then it should do so and so work. If it is false, you don't know what to do. Matlab you just want to tell that the condition has to be true only.
Hmm.
Okay. But when you say if else statement, here you say if one particular condition is true, then it should do something. It can be anything. Okay, anything. You can give any executions. Else the condition is false, then what? The program should do something also, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Like plan A doesn't work, then plan B should work, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Similarly, if plan A, plan B doesn't work, then we need to have plan C, plan D also. Yes or
Hmm.
no?
Right.
So here, else if statement comes in picture, that is elif.
Hmm.
Okay. Where you can have multiple elif conditions like plan A doesn't work, plan B doesn't work, plan C doesn't work, plan D doesn't work, plan E doesn't work, then plan F will work at least. That's what we
Hmm.
say. Yeah.
Right.
So एक एक करके we'll check now. Okay.
Hmm.
So I'll just say open a new document 4.sh. Okay. So I'll just say if condition. So before that, Aryan, I want you to understand some parameters. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
See, when you do any, what you say, conditional check, that
Hmm.
is for true or false, you always mention, right? If Sahil's age is greater than less than or greater than Aryan's age, or Aryan's age is less than Sahil's age. If Aryan's age is less than Sahil's age, then Sahil is elder, right? We have that conditions, right? We say true or false, right? So similarly, we have GT. GT stands for greater than. Okay, remember this, huh? You might have
Yes,
seen
sir.
the same things in Python also.
Yes, sir.
Less than or
Greater than equal to.
greater, greater. I'm sorry for my spelling, okay?
Yes, sir.
Just ignore if my spellings are wrong, huh?
Hmm.
Less, sorry, less than equal to, equal to. Aryan, if my grammar is wrong, then please, I'm sorry, okay?
Yes, sir.
Main intention is to learn the methodologies.
Hmm.
And this is not
Not equal.
not equal. See what happens, sometimes when you write one particular program on one particular OS and one particular distribution, sometimes these particular syntaxes don't work. These are called these are arithmetic syntaxes. Okay. Arith sorry, arithmetic syntax. Okay, similar this one also. So this is nothing but greater than, less than, greater or equal. I mean less or equal to, matlab equal or not equal to, right? These symbols, same symbols. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. One second now. Properly I'll write it down for you and I'll give. So these are the arithmetical. Then we have something called a logical also, right? Logical syntaxes or conditions. You know which are there? Hello, Arya, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have
And or
and
not.
we have or not, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
We have all this. So this also works, okay? Logical syntaxes.
Hmm.
So these are the two types of what you say syntaxes that are used. I mean during the what you say looping conditions.
Hmm.
Okay, sorry. What happened to this guy? Now I'll show you how if statement works. So first, I'll just quickly tell you about the syntax. Sorry. So we start with if and we end with fi. Okay. So if bracket, I mean bracket, if the condition is, let's say, true, then it should execute or let's say do something. Execute or slash do something, right? This is the if statement. Okay. So I'll show you how it works. So let's say if, let's say 15 hyphen GT 10. This should be true, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then I'll say echo true statement. And always don't forget to put fi at the end, okay? Or else your code will never execute, especially in the for loops. Okay. And please, Aryan, one thing you remember when you'll do coding now, especially for loops, be a little careful, okay? Uh, the for loops in normal C and in Bash is not the same. Okay, let's try to execute this statement and see. Auto.sh. Okay, it's a true statement. Yeah, let's try to reverse and see what it does. Let's say 100. What do you think? It will work? Hello, Aryan?
Yes, sir. Nothing will print.
Uh, Nothing will print, right? So,
Hmm.
so what I'll do is, okay, one second. Wait a second, man. keyboard got locked. Okay. So this was about our if statement. Yes. Now let's try with something if else. Let's see. See what was happening if I run this particular code 4 dot, let's say, see when I was trying to run this particular code, it was only saying true statement, right? Now this particular condition is false. So we'll try to say, what if this particular condition is false? So let's say, now let's add something here called as else, then let's say echo false condition. Okay. So what will happen is, now this particular condition is false. So it will directly go to the else statement and it will else condition. It will say else, it will go here and then it will see whatever is the condition that we are given to this, like to do something or to execute. So to execute, we have said echo, then print out the false condition, like saying the statement called as false condition. Okay, so I'll try to print this and I'll see how it works. Okay, syntax, then line number 27. Okay, I knew it. Something is wrong here. Line number 27. Then is not there here. Okay. You there, Aryan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you understood what I did here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wait 1 second. So I'll explain you. Okay. If else condition syntax. So what we do is we first mention the condition, whatever it is, right? And then we tell it to do some work. Like it can be anything like execute or do something. And then if this particular condition is only if it is true, and if the condition is false, then we will still tell it to do something, right? Or else directly in echo you saw, right, what it was doing. It was not printing out anything. It was just saying, it was just closing the program there and there.
Yes.
Only false condition. Okay, and then we end it with fi. Yes. So
Yes.
I'll copy all these things. Yeah. You saw, right, what it was doing.
Yes, sir.
So now what is happening here is, now what is happening here is it will check if the value 15 is greater than 100. Now saying this particular is false, absolutely false, because 15 is not greater than 100, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
this condition is false. So directly it will go to the echo state of the, it will directly go to the else condition, because the true condition is to not going to work. So it will go to the, yeah, okay. Any doubt, Aryan? Am I going too fast for you?
No, sir.
Okay. Now what we'll do, Aryan, is we'll try to do user-defined data inputs. Okay. You remember how we did user-defined data input?
Yes, yes, sir. Read.
How? Okay. I'm stop. I'll stop sharing my screen. You show me. Okay, how it is done. Okay. Now you can share your screen and show me. I'll just give the condition. Open your screen or open a notepad. I mean, open a something notepad or something. Okay, now listen to the problem what I'm giving. Okay, Aryan, you need to take two inputs from the user, numbers, basically numbers. Okay, and you need to check if the number one is less than or equal to number two, and it should be properly okay. Like the user should say like enter number one, then the next it should be enter number two, like that.
Was the condition greater than or equal to?
Anything, it's up to you. I'm leaving on you.
Okay.
Okay. CH mode. Okay. Enter any number. Okay, not greater equal. Okay, fine. Good. You understood, right? How we call the data from the variables, right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay. Now I'll show you one more important thing. Now this particular code, will help you when you want to do when you work in real-time environment and you don't know, you're not allowed to use Hydra or you're not allowed to use John the Ripper. That time, what will you do? Because at the client side, antivirus will block everything. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So there is a way of doing password brute forcings also using your own automation scanners. So
Mhm.
what I'll do is I'll open. Okay. Okay. Now, for example, I say a variable called as pass is equal to user underscore 123. Okay. This is the password that I know it is existing, and I want to check it with all the available passwords. Now, for example, let's say you have entered into a company's low privilege account, okay, and you got one password, but you're not pretty sure whose password will work what. But there is a file that you get n number of credentials, okay, in that n number of credentials. So you won't just there is one more way that you will do is control in F, that is to find, right? But sometimes in real time, control F also doesn't work when you are in CLI.
Mm.
You can use pipings, grep also, but sometimes it doesn't work. Okay,
Mm.
sometimes it doesn't work. So the only way to check is you say, for example, pass, then dollar, whatever it is, I'll say dollar, whatever is the data inside this, hyphen EQ equal to, let's say a string, let's say Sahil. Okay. So definitely this condition is not going to work, right? Not going to work. But I'm just showing you how password brute forcings can also be done in
Mm.
Bash. Let's say echo. Yes, it is a match. Or let's say else also one else statement I'll give you. Else go wrong, invalid match. Okay, let's try. Okay, I'm not sure whether this will work, but concatenation of string. See, it's saying invalid match, right? But there is one line error here, line number 5, user integer expression expected. Okay, I understood what happened. So when it was an integer that needs to be called, we had to put, now see, you observed one thing when you just mentioned number 1 and number 2, that is $1, $A and then $B, it was directly considering that is it to be a number file, right? Number.
Right.
But now our case here, it is a string file. So we'll have to put it in brackets.
Yeah.
So now it should work for us. Okay. Still it is saying integer expression expected. Okay, let's see. What is the problem? Line number 5, it was saying, right? Line number
Line number
7.
7.
Okay, line number 7. Let's figure it out. Okay. Let's figure it out. No problem. Still. See, until unless you don't play with what you say, Bash, na, you won't understand. If it is still saying na, then I think the code is wrong somewhere. See, it is still saying expected. Okay, I'll figure it out. Okay, why the error is coming. Yeah, but see, you can use Bash scripting to do all your what you say, integer checking also. I mean, password brute forcing. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
this one, Aryan, you try. Okay, you try this one. I'll
Which
share
one,
this
sir?
PPT with you. This else if or elif. You
Okay,
try
sir.
this. Okay, not now. I mean, we'll finish this last topic of this Bash scripting. Now,
Mm.
Bash scripting. See, did you observe one thing, Aryan? Uh, did you observe one similarities between Bash scripting and Python? You observed, right?
Yes, sir.
It's
Very
very
similar.
it's very similar. It's very
Ah,
similar. It is not very. I would say it is somewhat similar, like 20. But the most important thing about Bash scripting is 90. I would say 50% of your default commands that we have here, ls, pwd, they work inside Python.
mhm.
I mean, inside what you say, bash scripting, like echo directly also, if in directly also you just say echo here, Sahil, it will print, right? See, it directly prints, but programmatically also it prints for us. Yes. So knowing all the commands or the most important commands of Linux will help you to write proper codes in bash scripting.
Mm.
Now, this particular thing, I want you to do it. Okay. I want you to make a automation stuff check here. Now, coming to the existing command. See, I use an existing command called as who am I here. So with the help of who am I, it was telling me who is my current user. Now, the reason why I'm showing this is with the help of this, we can also use predefined what you say, predefined commands also, like nmap, like this. Yeah, I'll show you how it is done. So first we'll try to run this particular command. I'll explain how it is. What is this particular command doing? Okay, so I'll just say bin hash, and then I'll create a variable called as current user, and I'll use this command called as who am I. Okay, who am I? But who am I won't run. So I'll have to use dollar symbol and then a bracket here. Where is the bracket one? Ah. So what bash scripting will do is it will run this who am I command. So I'll just show you here. Okay, who am I? It is showing parrot, right? Yes. If I just say who am I, or I say if config also, sorry, IPA. Yes. So it is showing, right? Whatever is the commands. We'll try to experiment. Okay, we'll try to experiment. So who am I? And then I'll just print out this statement called as echo you are dollar current underscore user. You are logged in as underscore user. Okay, you understood the syntax, Aryan, what it is doing? Okay, so for ch mode 777 7 dot, what happened to this? Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, you're logged in as root. Did you observe this, Aryan?
Yes, sir.
But what if I just now, since I am using the terminal, previously I was using the terminal as root. Yeah,
Mm.
close terminal. Previously, I'm using this terminal as root, but here I'm using it as parrot. So let's see
Right.
what it does. I think we'll have to go to the main directory, home, parrot, desktop, ls-el. Then we have Aryan. Let's see if we have the execution permission. It should be because we have. You're logged in as parrot. You saw? Saw
Yes,
the
sir.
difference? So from wherever you're executing the program, like previously we executed using the root. So it was showing you're logged in as root. And here you're logged in as parrot. So it was showing as parrot. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
now what we'll try to do is, Aryan, plum. That is Pluma 7.0. We'll try to do some more experiments like IP. IP dollar if config works, but I can just say IPA also. let's say if config hyphen, let's say if config only. Go your IP is, just say $IP only. Okay, let's see. You saw it printed out the IP addresses also, whatever it was. Similarly, I run the same command here. Okay, I did not do the execution, I mean changes in this particular statement. So you saw it printed out all the important details of other details also. Similarly, what I'll do is I'll open this again. I'll remove this. Remove this. Now what I'll do is I'll just say read. Observe, okay, Aryan, what I'm doing. I'll explain everything. Now let's experiment something interesting. Read hyphen, let's say read hyphen p. Aryan, you there?
Sir.
The domain. Okay, let's say, and we'll save it in domain. Now I'll run a command. Okay, now for example, enum is equal to, I create a variable. I'll just say variable called as enum is equal to, should I mention here or not? Let's see. Let's see. One second, huh? One second, huh? I think there is some problem. Let me figure it out. Single bracket or double bracket? Yeah, it's single bracket actually. One second, Aryan. Don't execute the program. Nmap dot. Okay, let's say scan me dot nmap dot org. See, it is running the nmap scan for us behind. You saw how we can make automation scanners also here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So this will take time to show the results. So I'll stop it and I'll
So
do one
I have
thing.
an issue with my this thing.
What is it?
Sir, when I try to like the command into a variable, it's not accepting it.
Okay, one second. Show it to me.
Yes, sir. So this
एक second, huh? Spacings are in. Remove the spacings. No, why are you printing $X? Did you define any variable called as $X?
okay.
No, right?
No problem.
Now try. Save it. Save it. Baba, save karo. Always
Yes, sir.
save.
Save. Yeah.
Huh?
Got it.
Don't forget to save.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. एक मिनट, huh?
Sir.
Actually live testing चालू आहे. So issues are. Okay, sorry, Arya. So this is how you can use nmap. So not just nmap, but any anything. Like if you want to make a perfect what you say automation scanner using Go Buster, Directory Buster, I mean brute forcing, directory brute forcing, Go Buster, Go, yeah, you can create your own script and use it. Similarly, if you want to do extensive scanning with Nmap, Rust scan, rather than opening 3 different tabs, you can make and just one particular program where you enter the IP address and it will run each and everything. Yes. So this is the reason why you need to have Nmap. Now see, uh, so actually, Aaron, this was the last, what you say, the lecture. Okay, I'll stop sharing, I mean, stop recording and I'll tell you something important tip. Okay, 1 second. Huh? How do I stop share? I mean, recording, God, stop recording.